but we will be keeping to time. Would have loved for all of you to be a part of this event physically, but given the pandemic, the COVID-19 restrictions, we're unable to have so many people. Please, the pandemic is still very real. Once I leave the stage, I put on my mask, but to ensure that you can get quality sound. So please, let's have our sanitizers, let's use our masks. And I know we're tempted that it's December to really dirty it, but there's nothing wrong with a clean December. So today is more than just a virtual book launch. We're going to have career conversations. For those of you who are here, please let's put all our phones on silent. Let's just ensure that our attention is on anybody with the microphone here on stage. As I said, it's more than a virtual book launch. We have career conversations. There's going to be a panel discussion. Then there's going to be that fireside chat, which I'm really excited about because it's not easy writing a book. There's so many emotions you go through. I almost liken it to carrying a child. I haven't carried a child yet, but I see people, and it's almost you incubate and you birth and then you nurture, and that's what we're going to be seeing today. We're just seeing the final product, the child, but there's so much of the backstory which I can't wait to see in the fireside chat. And we want it to be as interactive as possible, so please engage with us through the comment section. Please share videos, share pictures, screen grabs, screenshots across your social media platforms and tag Adedoyin Jayesimi. Also use the hashtag from Clueless to Success, and let's know where you are tuning in from, because I know we have people all over the world who are tuning in, whether you're like us who are in Lagos, Nigeria, or maybe you're in Ghana, the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia. Please let us know, South Africa, let us know in the comment section, and let us know what you'd like to take out of this event. Remember, it's interactive, so we'll be looking out for your questions during the panel discussion, and please send your messages. Some of them might end up being read here. So without wasting any more time, I would like to invite, as I said, it's a celebration. So I'll call her the celebrant of the day. It's not her birthday, but she's really celebrating the birth of what I'll call a journey that is so honest, so poignant, and at the same time, it's something that a lot of us in the communication space can relate to. Sometimes you just feel clueless, like, what do I do? The pandemic just happened. How do I keep up with all my communications commitments? What do I do? I'm just starting a new job. So here in Nigeria, we have a saying, the Oga at the top, but she is the Madame at the top. But if you want to be official, she's the Chief Communications Consultant at the Comms Avenue, which is our family, and we're growing to 500 members very soon. If you haven't joined the Comms Avenue, now is a good time. In fact, halfway through, you'll see reasons why to join the Comms Avenue. And she wears so many hats. She's really interested in women who are in transition. She describes herself as a woman in transition. She's also involved in different forms of communications, whether it's capacity building, mentoring, consulting for high network individuals, people in the C-suite. When it comes to communication, you know that Adedoyin Jayesimi literally breeds that. And what is even more important to her than communication is Abba, her father, who is her everything, her God, her life commitment to Jesus Christ. That is so important. You can't know Adedoyin without knowing her commitment to God. So please, if your hands are not too busy taking pictures, posting on social media, please let's all applaud her in the room. That applause is too small. Woo! And virtually, I want to see all the clapping emoticons. Just give us clapping, clapping, dancing. Keep going, let's get the energy. Woo! Are you okay with that applause? I should make them now have the mic so I can just be getting them to clap and clap. So thank you. Thank you again, everyone. Welcome, good afternoon. I'm so grateful that all of you are here, and to everyone joining online. And I really hope that this is insightful, exciting as well, and you learn a few things from my journey, because that's what From Clueless to Success really is. It's just my journey so far as a communications professional, which I have shared. Like somebody said, I foresee a sequel, and I'm like, yeah, most likely there will be, when I cannot say. So thank you again for being here. Thank you for taking the time out to log in online, For those that have read the book, your feedback and comments have been really very interesting to read. And yeah, please send me your questions. I will take them later and talk about them. So thank you so much. A sequel. I know a lot of the book reviews have been coming in, and it's not enough really, because you feel like someone has taken you on a journey from then till now, but there's still so much more ahead, still so much more in the future, and you want to be part of that journey. So as you have said it, we will hold on to it, and we will encourage you, and the way you can encourage Adedoyin to have that sequel, to really make out time to pour out her thoughts. And she's doing this for free. I know how expensive it is to publish a book, from the hours you spend writing it, to the design, to the marketing, to the printing, to the distribution. It's really expensive. And for her to do this really in obedience to God and make it available so that other people who are feeling clueless will not feel like, look, I'm just alone by myself. Everybody has their clueless moments. Everybody has their success moments. Social media these days is all about the glam, everything, you've arrived, but there's a story behind that. So one way you can make sure that sequel comes out is by reading the book, downloading the book, it's free, supporting in different ways. It might be tweeting, it might be writing a book review, and making sure the word gets out there. And of course, you can always slide into a DM with a comment or leave a message on any of her social media platforms. So now I'd like to invite someone who is dear to Adiola, her brother. Please make welcome Adiola. A warm, warm round of applause. Hey, I will not drop this mic. Let the energy connect with them at home.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adiola Jaisimi. So, without revealing too much, because I know that there's still going to be lots of conversations about the book, but a lot of chapters that you've read, if you've read the book, I was somewhere annoying during her hard times or during the good times, because that's my role as a junior brother, to annoy her. But one thing I would say is, despite everything she's written in the book, especially for the part where she wrote that she's clueless, or she was clueless, she was helping me in my own journey. And that's how much of a selfless person she is, despite everything she was going through, despite her challenges, she was, or she still is, my own work and my own solid foundation. A lot of things I've accomplished today is because I had her by my side, Again, without revealing too much, there was a portion in the book where she wrote about, how our parents were very strict when it came to certain things. Her ability to be strong and be firm gave me my own, my own foundation to build myself. Without her, I really don't know where I would be, honestly. I've had a lot of trouble. I'm sure you can guess that I'm the black sheep of my family. But thanks to her, she was able to help me navigate. So I'm looking forward to her sharing her life with you today, basically with this book, and I thank you guys all for coming here. So, yeah.
So as I said, it's not, we're live streaming. So if you have to move across the room, please, let's just go behind the camera so that we get a really nice view and we don't see any heads moving along. Please, if you're just coming in, let's put our phones on silent and let's just try to focus all our energy on the stage. I mean, we have about an hour and a half or so to go. And for me, you never know. Every opportunity, let's take it. I mean, this period has really taught us that, it's the relationships we form, it's the nuggets that we have, it's the wisdom we acquire, the people that we meet, that in the the end will come through for us. So please, if you're just joining us, a big thank you. Please use the hashtag from Clueless to Success, and it will be interesting to see what have you enjoyed of the book. I mean, the book has been out for maybe 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks. It's available free download. Today is the virtual launch, so some of you have read the book, your reviews have come out. Some of you are waiting for, okay, why should I read this book? Believe you me, at the end of this event, you will have a reason to read this book. And really, the next thing on the agenda is our panel discussion. And for me, that's really important, because it's one thing to hear one person's story, it's another thing to hear another person's story, and then you begin to see the common denominator, you begin to see things, and you're like, look, I'm not the only one going through this right now. I can definitely relate to this, and as I said, it's about building those bridges, building those relationships. So at this point, I'd like to invite our panel moderator. Please give a round of applause to our panel moderator. I said give a round of applause. So that applause was just for you guys here. Like, it's not, Sharon, is that okay? Celebrant, CCC of TCA, is that okay? She said, it's okay. No, there's no division. Who should I listen to the CCC or So is that applause okay? Wait, someone should confirm if they are also interacting on the virtual, the YouTube. What are they saying? Just feed me. They are clapping. They're saying well done. They are clapping. Okay, now if they are clapping and you guys here are not clapping, there's a mismatch somewhere. So please make welcome Mrs. Sharon Adai Igbo.
Thank you so much. Yes, I feel very welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. So good to be here, and congratulations, Adedoyin. This is an amazing day. We've been counting down to this event. So I'm not going to be here alone. As you know, it's a panel conversation, and I'm happy to invite two people to join me here on stage. You'll bear with me. I need to read out, their bios, because these are powerful people who will be here. The first panelist is a seasoned public relations practitioner with know-how in corporate communications, external affairs, and sustainable business. He contributes in various ways to the development of the public relations industry through thought leadership write-ups on issues that enhance knowledge share and discourse. With over 10 years of experience in PR, he has honed his skills by working with multinationals such as MTN, Unilever, DuPont, Reki Benkisa, LG Electronics. Wow, you guys should be clapping by now. That's amazing. Accenture and DHL. Currently, as the corporate communications manager at Unilever, he supports the business with enhanced narratives in its mission to drive sustainable growth and create a brighter future for Africa through its brands and operations in Nigeria. Can you put your hands together as we welcome Godfrey Adejumo? You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Please keep clapping till he gets here. Thank you. Welcome, sir. So good to have you. Okay, so the next panelist that'll be joining me is an award-winning lifestyle journalist, a Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 honoree, a seasoned media and comms professional with over 10 years of brand building experience in Africa's largest economy, working with consumer, lifestyle, and tech brands across mass and niche markets. She's currently the CEO of Redrick Public Relations, a PR agency specializing in designing and executing strategic integrated campaigns that support enterprises and startups to innovate, accelerate, and grow. Redrick has worked with clients such as L'Oreal Group, Moët Hennessy, Mitsubishi Motors, Heineken Lagos Fashion Week, Jumia Nigeria, just to mention a few. Joining us on the panel right now is Ijoma Balogun, CEO of Redrick PR. Please put your hands together. Thank you so much for joining us. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. So good to have you on our panel today as we discuss moving from Clueless to success. Our host said, this is not just a book launch. This is a place where we're going to have career conversations, because that's what the crux of the book was about. And both of you are seasoned professionals in your own right. So I want to find out from you, where did this all begin for you? How did your journey into communication start? Ladies first.
Is this good? Can everyone hear me? So for me, it was very, I think my journey with communication started out maybe when I was 17 or 18. I knew in school I used to like to write. I always did like public speaking competitions, writing competitions. And I remember at a certain point, my mom said, you know, when I was thinking about what to do for university, she said, I think you should do communications, right? You seem to like writing. I think it would be a good path for you. And I said, okay, sure, that sounds great. I read up on it and I was like, okay, fine. Then there was a certain point when I was done with A levels and I was going to university. I took a gap year. And I'm the type of person that likes to be busy. I always have to have something doing. And in my gap year, because I'd done A levels, I had my results. I already knew where I was going to after my gap year. So I was like, okay, let me do something. And in that period, I think the blog sphere was new. It was very like exciting. I think then there was like Bella Niger as a blog. So I started up a blog. I started a blog. It was like a fashion blog. I started writing on the blog. And then when Bella Niger was going from a blog to a website, I started working with them, and I was their first style editor there. And I was the one who sort of grew the team, because when I started, we were like a team of 3 or 4. Went to university, studied communications, came back to Nigeria with the plan to work in a communications company and then maybe see where things go. So during my NYSC, I think my year was the year, I can't remember, were we teaching in schools or were we not teaching in schools? I can't remember right now, but there was something with NYSC, and so somebody who has become a mentor said to me that, you know what, while you're, in NYSC, you're interested in communications and you're interested in PR and you just finished, I have somebody who I think might be a client for you. I was like, okay, I want to be busy. I like to be busy. And I took on that client. Then it was not like a structure. I didn't have a company yet. I just took it on to see how it went. And it went really well. Got referred to handle some PR projects for a few more clients. And that's where my journey literally began. So I would say I was prepared to a certain extent, because technically I'd been working since I was 18. Even while I was in uni, I was still working with Bella Niger and growing the team. But I guess it wasn't as intentional. But at the same time, when I look back at it, I know that it was the path that was laid out for me, and I was carefully following purpose without even realizing it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Can we put our hands together for her? Okay, at this point, let me call up our third panelist. I'll quickly read his bio. He's an ace writer and a social and content strategist. He's a CXL Institute certified growth marketer and a Cannes Lions certified storyteller with over 8 years of work experience. Currently, he works as a freelance B2B copywriter at Pointed Copywriting, where he leads content marketing efforts and a couple of B2B brands. He also volunteers as a facilitator at Afara's Leadership Center and is studying a diploma in social and content strategy at Miami Art School. So if you're a member of the Comms Avenue, you already know who this is. He's one of our most revered members. Please put your hands together for Dozier Ayebunam. Sorry. Yeah, it's fine. Welcome. Okay, so the panel is complete. All right, so I was just in the middle of asking everyone what their journey had been like. So So, Mr. Godfrey, over to you.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you so much for sharing your story, and thanks for the acts. I'll be honest to say that I think Doyin wrote my story. Wow. Because I'm sure that even as I speak now, I still think I'm clueless.
I know, right?
Because there's a lot ahead, and there's very little that is being done. So here's my story, like born and bred by two teachers, principal, headmistress, typical village setting, never been out of the village. So the only jobs that exist in my head are teaching jobs. So even going to school, what to study, maybe at best, because some disciplines are very popular, which is doctor, lawyer, engineering. So anything outside of that, you are not likely going to be a successful person. In fact, the community will not acknowledge that you are going to school. So, but I found out that that was a huge delay for a lot of people. So people finish secondary school, they don't have one particular paper. And so the next 4 or 5 years, like a joke, they are still at home. And eventually, they stay at home and that becomes their story. That was my typical kind of setting. And so at a very tender age, I told myself, anything that is very uncommon, that is not popular, that will be my interest. So automatically, anything that was medicine, law, engineering, political science, I was not interested. I was just interested, what was that thing that people don't know? And cut long story short, I found myself in philosophy. Interestingly, I just wrote this JAM. I didn't make it to 200 cutoff mark. So my result was good. My dad took it to some guy who is late now. And the guy said, this boy is too young to be in the village. Otherwise, he would join them to impregnate guests. And so take him out of the village. So I found myself in diploma in law, but I was very sad. But my grades were very good. I think I was like among top 20 out of a population of over 2,000. So everybody was saying, you make a good lawyer. But within me, I was struggling, like this is not where I am. This is not who I want to be. And so here comes a guy who was very proud to be a law student, undergraduate. And he said, I saw your name somewhere. And your name is in one of those useless courses that nobody ever studies. And lo and behold, I now remember that I chose philosophy in my JAM form. And my name came out in the 3rd supplementary list, meaning my classmate had resumed and all of that. Cut long story short, I got there. I was on my own. Someone came and said, can you become Secretary General of our student association? In my head, you don't understand, I came from a village. I need to get a certificate because it's a life-saving for me. Without the certificate, I'm going to go back to the village and the rest is, we all know why it turns out. So in my head, this is it. But the guy said, no, you will make a good leader. Long story short, I was secretary, I was president of the department. But I found out that engagement among students was very poor. So everyone will complain of our leaders today. The truth is, if you give a lot of us positions, we're more terrible than the leaders that are there today. So people took for granted the need to talk to fellow students. People are extremely clueless. Don't forget that philosophy is very abstract. What do you do with philosophy as a philosophy graduate? You're not going to work in a law court. You're not going to find a job. So people come there very confused, not knowing what to do. I think in my set that we were 38, only 2 of us chose philosophy. The rest of the people were purely accidental students. So when I became a leader, I took it upon myself to go to class per class, even the classes that were senior to me, to let them know that we are here for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know. But don't feel inferior. So I was very proud as a philosophy student, and I was going class to class. In one of those times that I was posting banners on the walls to tell students, we're doing this, we're doing that. There is a guy, and to be honest, today I'm still looking for him because he gave me the career from the village. There's a difference because those guys are not writing, they're exposed. So just to me, Godfrey, have you heard of public relations? I said, no. I continued my job. He said, come in. He said, go and read about it. He said, you will make a good public relations person. I discarded it. Fast forward to youth service, Telsin, another Lagos boy who was coming to school, University of Benin. We met, he was in English, I was in philosophy, so all of us were in Faculty of Arts. So Telsin said, Godfrey, how far? What do you want to do now? I said, and I remember what Justin told me 3 years ago. I said, if I say anything in public relations, I will do it. And Telsin said, I have a job for you. Let's go and meet Antelero. That she will give you a job. She runs a consultancy. Fast forward, the only time I ever left my place of primary assignment was February 13th, 2012. No, 2006. To come to Cubit's Fair, Fantasyland, that place in Ikoyi. We went to meet Antelero in the middle of the night. She was preparing for a program with two, Wumi and Tunde, for the Valentine's Day, which was 14. And so Tessie said, Antelero, this is Godfrey, the friend I told you about. He wants to do public relations. And Antelero said, go and finish service, you're disturbing me, come back. And that was how I started my journey in public relations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. Dozie, over to you.
Hello. Can't you hear my voice? Because of this speaker, hello. Okay, so first of all, I'm really sorry I'm late. Lagos has this way of disgracing you, where you kind of say to yourself that you probably have 2 hours, and then you spend like 40, 50 minutes on the road, and you're just like, why? Like, why did you just leave like earlier? But back to the question. My journey has been very, very unconventional, actually. I grew up in the north, and my popsy was a lecturer in mass comm. So by the time I was 6, I was banished from his library because I had probably lost almost all his books. So literally, I would read a book, I would take it to school, and I would dash it to a friend, and I'll come back. So, but I think what happened was that, so by the time I was 7, 8, I had read a lot of books. So like literally, I had read books on Mao, the guy. I was having conversations with him and his friends, and they would be like, "What's this your son all about?" But the problem was literally every single time I collected back. If you ask me, who did you? I didn't know. And so then at that point, I now started writing stories. I had this little book where I would just write out what I was imagining. So I just call it my book of short stories. I still remember, those old A4s that are hardcover and all that. So I used to write. I filled it up. And then Popsy retired, and we had to move down to. Popsy moved to the east. We stayed with him for a bit. I lost the book, and I lost the book, and I think I lost myself at that point in time. And I can understand what he was saying, what Godfrey was saying about how. At some point, I don't know where it's happening now, and I really hope it doesn't happen to the younger ones who are coming up now. But at some point, like every parent and everybody around you, you just literally had, law, you had to do engineering, or you would do medicine, and probably pole science. But pole science had this thing, like you didn't understand what it was. And so, Momsy was like, God was so she was like, you have to do medicine. So I went to. Don't try this way. I went to write my JAMB exam, and I purposely wrote to fail because I just didn't want to do medicine. So I wrote to fail. I scored. I think yesterday used to be like 260, 270. She scored like 210. So I got into microbiology. That was the most horrible 4 years of my life. When I was done with that, I took the certificate and went to her. I said, so I'm done with this one. Now I want to do what I want to do. So I went to do an MBA. And then at the MBA, they were asking me at the career office, like, what do you want to do with your life? And I said, I just want to tell stories. Like, that's what I want to do. I just want to tell stories. I don't know what it's called. They call it marketing, but I know that what I want to do is just tell stories. And literally, that's what I've been doing most of my life, just telling stories. I've worked across various roles. I was talking about this some days ago, that like I've literally worked, I've worked in comms, I've worked in content marketing, I currently copyright. I've worked in big companies, but I know that one thing that stayed with me all through is that I just need to just tell. That's what I love to do. So if you were to ask me what I'm doing right now, I'll just say I'm a storyteller, basically. I believe that answers the question.
Please put your hands together for Duzi. Thank you so much for sharing. So how many of us have read the book, Adedoyin's book? Okay, fair number, great. So I'm going to be asking questions based on, the stories or the experiences she shared in the book. Now, somewhere in the book, she talked about, at the start of the book, not knowing what she wanted to really do. And I find that with a lot of us creative people, there's always that lack of clarity. Sometimes you're good at so many things, and you're not just sure what they all mean. So how did the dots begin to connect for you? How did the dots begin to connect for you? So who wants to go first? You've been appointed.
How did the dots begin to connect? So very early, I knew I wanted to do communications. I studied global communications and integrated marketing communications. So I was very precise. But did I really know how that would pan out? Not exactly. So when I came back and I set up my PR firm, I was doing a lot of like fashion PR because my background was since I was 18, I was writing, I was a fashion journalist, so it just seemed like, let me do communications and combine fashion. I think for me, the dots started connecting more in the sense of, not necessarily, do I want to do communications? Because I knew I wanted to do communications, but what aspect of communications do I want to do? Where do I really want to, focus on? And I think I got there gradually, right? From, working, having experiences with, I was really young. I started my company when I was 22, I think, just straight out of university. I really didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? So I was really young, but like in going through working with clients, I started to figure out, okay, I don't really want to do this. One thing that really sort of contributed to the light bulb in my head was, while I loved fashion, the fashion industry was not yet as developed, as structured as it was globally, where PR was kind of, needed a compulsory element of their brand. Here, you're a PR person, it was like, okay, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Do I need you? So for me, it was, okay, this space I'm in right now, they don't necessarily, it's not yet at that stage where they need someone like me. So where can I sort of plant my feet? And that's where I think the dots started connecting for me. First, we started working with a lot of like startups, startup companies across different brands, and then I elevated to start working with like tech companies, more consumer brands, more luxury brands. So for me, I think, to be honest, like Mr. Godfrey said, like, sometimes you still feel clueless. So I feel I'm still connecting the dots along the way, but I now know that, okay, this is the path where I want to play, working with consumer, lifestyle, and tech brands. So for me, it was in the process of the journey and my experiences, it brought me closer to, the type of brands I wanted to work with. Even when we work with small businesses, there are sort of certain things we look out for. There's certain things I look out for to say, okay, I want to work with you. So I think my journey and my experiences led me to where I am now, but I can't say there's one particular sort of like aha moment. Nah, absolutely not. I wish there was, but no.
Okay, let me just take it from Madam Gemma's last statement. I do not think there's this big moment of saying, this is it. The only thing I'll probably say is that, again, thanks to my parents, there was always this 7 p.m. listening to state news, 9 p.m. listening to national news, and lots of my siblings, 6 of us, were not interested, but I was. And in the time of Ambassador was when I really became knowledgeable enough to understand, okay, what is this news about? And I saw Dori Okupe, who was his chief chief spokesperson, I found out that there was a lot of dexterity, a lot of confidence in the way he used his position to communicate government's policies with clarity, with proper explanation. There was no this attack, as it were. And so that inspired me, like, okay, God, for maybe someday you will just become that guy who supports global leaders to help them communicate their policies and all that. And the moment I started working with Mrs. Alero, I realized that that was the part. And let me say, and go back to Doyin on the book, to say, thank you for being vulnerable, because what Doyin did is what the Western world has used to leapfrog the level of development, because there's a linkage between theory and practice. Everything you see the Western world has become today, people theorized it and people documented it. And so when people get into a position of leadership, they make reference to those documents to say, if this is what this person did, therefore let's do this and get that. So I want to thank Doyin for being very vulnerable, because one of the most vulnerable moments for me that people are not proud to say is when, in the course of having gotten the clarity of this is what I want to become, guess what? I cannot start telling you the errors. Sometimes I ask myself, why exactly are you still on this job? Like, why don't your boss just come and say, F, like, excuse me, sorry for that, but like, get out. Because let me tell you one of the errors that I made. I took an Okada on Terminal Bridge to go deliver a banner to a client who was having an annual AGM. I was late. The event had ended when I got there. This banner that you see, thank God it's got digital. Then it has to be this. But when I got there, the event had ended, so my banner was useless. By the time the client said, okay, let's even see what you did, guess what? I misspelled the client's name. What exactly was I doing? I don't see, I can give you terrible mistakes. So when you see a daily documental of this, I like to say thank you, because I'm working on a book, and I know what the guts that it takes to say some of these things and still feel okay. And I think I like to say that there was no aha moment, and even up until this moment, guess what? I sent a mail about sometime last month across my boss, because me and her had a conversation, and I thought there was clarity. And by the time I sent it to someone who was senior to both of us, and the person said no. And my boss now said, Godfrey, we should have talked about it first. See, she could have just said, Godfrey, leave this job. But here I am. I don't know why. I don't know why they're still keeping me. And that's why I say, am I still clueless? Yes, I am very clueless. There's no aha moment, and that's the honest truth. So I'm still involved.